All aboard, it's Jang here with a quick look at a Playmobil Dragons set. This one came in a bag. This one's called the Lightning Dragon. It's one of 4 in the series. These are mostly out of production by now, but I still see them in stores, so I picked them up from my local Toys R Us to check out. Let's go ahead and open up this package and see what's inside. It is a resealable bag, so if you want to keep what's in there after putting it all together, you can, but this does come unassembled. So there's what you get all put together, and let's go ahead and take a look at these one at a time. The dragon is a little bit more humanoid in its design than I expected, and it's also a little bit smaller than I expected, just from looking at the size of the package. But there are more pieces, more individual pieces in the set than I expected as well. All these armor pieces you have to snap on individually, including the spike, or the set of spikes on the tail. You can see that it's actually standing on just its feet right now. It doesn't actually need the tail to balance. It does have good enough balance, and the toes are long enough that it's able to lean forward, and it's still just being held. You know, it's just standing up on its own, so that's good. It does have the ability to open and close its mouth, and there's no little clicking in there, so you can set that wherever you want it to be. It's a nice smooth action. The wings can actually be brought in a little bit more, so it looks more like it's just standing around on the ground. Kind of close those in a little bit, and you kind of cross them in the back just a little bit as well. They just hinge right here. And when you want to, you can also spread them out. They're at a pretty decent angle. I kind of wish the wings were a little bit larger. I think that larger would look a little bit more believable, that it would actually be able to fly, but it's okay. And these are just a little bit flexible, so they're not going to break off easily with that small little section down at the base. Overall, looks pretty respectable, especially in the head. It's got a nicely detailed head, and then these are its lightning bolts that are coming out of its hands, because it is the lightning dragon here. It's all just part of its element. You see the warrior here is also representing the lightning element, with the sash going around as a belt. So this is not a versus set. It's not human versus dragon. These are on the same side, so they're part of the same faction. This figure also has more components to it included with this set than I expected. You actually put the insert into the shield, then you've got the bracers. There's a pair of them in the dark reddish color. You've got 2 pieces to the headdress there. The top little tassel is separate. You've got the holder over here for the longbow, the quiver you place on yourself, the arrows you place into there. So it's nicely built up, and you see you've got the little part that's covering up the kind of teal color piece that's going over the shoulders. You don't actually have to put that on, because that's put on before the head is attached. But this is actually a pretty nicely built up character. You got kind of a guando kind of weapon there. That's pronounced differently in different regions, so forgive me if I'm a little bit off on that. But I'm not an ancient Asian historian myself, so I can't quite tell whether this is more Chinese styled or more Mongolian styled, or maybe a little bit in between. I do want to address one thing that some viewers may find a little bit awkward with, just how extreme the facial features are designed in here. If you actually look at historical ancient Chinese paintings of the people themselves, you'll see that the features are actually quite very exaggerated there. So this is actually appropriate based on a historical rendering, based on actual art of history. Some folks would find that a little bit, possibly a little bit insulting, but I'm certain it's not intended to be so. All told, again, smaller dragon than I personally was expecting, just based on the size of the bag. But any kind of disappointment that I had is definitely made up for by the number of pieces and the level of detail, especially with the accessories with the human figure here. So this is actually pretty good stuff. I'm pretty happy with it. Hope that you enjoyed this look at this small set, and hope that you'll stick around and check out more videos, because guess what? We're on the way. Talk to you soon.